Get ready. It's on. The struggle is real. It's the show that made you woke. Great sports talk among some friends, and nothing is out of bounds. As one many young millennial said, the Fourth and Long pod is totally lit. Time for the Fourth and Long podcast with Chris Lazzarotti, Matt Migden, and Michael Baldini. It's on, and it starts right now.
You guys! You know what? Let me kick down a little thing to you that our founding fathers kicked down to me. It goes, don't tread on me. And right now, you guys are treading all over me! See? Let's roll. What? Oh, come on. You're my answer.
Yes, sir. Fourth and Long. It is Friday, September 24th. Embarking on a big weekend in sports. We got the Ryder Cup. We got NFL Week 3. We got Eagles Cowboys, even though it seems like no one's really excited about it if you're an Eagles fan. And weirdly enough, I hate to slip them in there, but the Phillies, they're still in it. Philadelphia Phillies still in it. The Fightins, baby. The Fightins are still in it. I think they're 2 out from the Braves. They just put on some kind of insane comeback last night. They're down 6-0 to the Pirates, and then they win 12-6. So, and go figure. And they'll probably lose tonight 2-1 or something ridiculous. They've literally been the most up and down team I've probably ever seen in terms of baseball. And I'm not really a big baseball guy, but I got to give them credit. Phillies, this is my shout out to you, but it's not the reason for our episode today. We got a little Ben Simmons talk. We didn't get to cover that really on the pod, so I'm going to go through that. What seems to be the never-ending drama with him. We'll do a little Eagles Cowboys preview, and then we're going to make you some money. We got a lot of bets here. I'm going to go through all the games and then maybe a couple over-unders. And then I think I'm going to give it a lock of the week. But yeah, we'll get to that later. But first, I guess, we got to cover this. Ben Simmons tells the Sixers organization that he will not be returning to the team, never hopes to play again for the Sixers. He never will play again for the Sixers. I think it just highlights the disappointment, if you're a Sixers fan, me included, the way that this has gone for, I guess ever since 2019, where they go out against the Raptors, and then the following year in the bubble, they go out against the Celtics, and then obviously leading up to another disappointing loss again to the Atlanta Hawks. A guy that just can't get it together in the playoffs and refuses to tool his game to, better fit the league, but more importantly, just better fit the team. And, you got a team here that finishes first in the East last year, seemingly looks like they could be a contender. They could make it to the Eastern Conference Finals. And then their flaws were exposed by the Atlanta Hawks. And that's, Ben Simmons can't shoot. His quality of play goes down in the playoffs. I think there was maybe 2 games there where he maybe had over 15. And essentially, if you look at it, you look back, it's like playing 4-on-5. I don't like to be a broken record here, but I think Philadelphia just has totally moved on, and it sucks, but if you're a Philadelphia Sixers fan, you're super disappointed. From the genesis of the process and everything that's been going on, if you look at our draft picks, the only really one that hit is Embiid, and thank God. But, God forbid, what if Embiid didn't hit? What if he's healthy in college and he doesn't drop to us at 3? What if the Cavaliers take him at 1 that year? I mean, this could be a joke of a franchise if it not be for Joel Embiid. So I think, the Sixers are one of those teams that continue to disappoint. And if you look back in the last 2 decades, what can you say about the Sixers? Not much. I think they're one of those teams that, excuse me, could be one of the most disappointing teams in the last 2 decades. Just because of the expectations set, whether that be by the fan base or the media, I don't know. You could figure that out. But at least with teams like Minnesota, maybe a little bit in New Orleans, I don't know why they came to mind. Teams like Memphis, at least you kind of know going in what they're going to be for now. And then you look at a team like the New York Knicks, who kind of like the Philadelphia 76ers, a big market. They continue to disappoint over the last 2 decades. I mean, it's hard because I think with these bigger market teams, you have bigger expectations, obviously. But if we look back and look above from like a bird's eye view, the Sixers might be one of the most disappointing franchises the last 20 years. They might be. And I'm a Sixers fan. And I'm not saying they can't win beyond Ben Simmons, because I think they can. But the amount of media scrutiny and just, I feel like the Sixers just can't get out of their own way as an organization. And now you got Doc Rivers, who, in the Game 7 presser says that Ben Simmons, he doesn't know if he can be a point guard for a championship team, which is the God's honest truth. He's doubling back on those statements now. And just for reference, I think we have the Doc Rivers Game 7 interview here where he says it, and here it is.
I think that
Hey, Doc, do you think Ben Simmons can still be a point guard for a championship team like the one you guys want to become?
Yeah, David, I don't know that question or the answer to that right now. So I don't know the answer to that.
What do you
So, and obviously media is going to speculate a little there, but if you're Doc, can't you just be honest and say, well, I guess I'm saying about now, because what he's saying now is no, he wants Ben back. But Ben doesn't want to come back. He's already decided. So if you're Doc, why do you have to even say anything? So maybe, I don't know, maybe he's been coached on to say that. Maybe, the Sixers are trying to be, in the stance of let's act like it's all his fault. Let's all push it on him, which I do truthfully believe it is his fault. Look, I mean, you got a really good situation here, Ben, but it looks like you already made up your mind. And my notes here for the show, I wrote Simmons, Rivers, Morey, Clutch Cartel. So that should be enough to tell you where my mind is. And, if you're a Sixers fan, you're obviously not happy with Rich Paul and Clutch. And I call them the cartel because they, seemingly just get their way with everything. But, what they're doing here, I guess, is they're trying to get them to a better team at a discount. They're hopefully thinking that they can, put the Sixers in a submission hold, and then they get rid of Simmons for, maybe 20 cents on the dollar to a better team, maybe somewhere on the West Coast where Ben might want to go. I think that's their end game. But if I'm the Sixers, you got to stay put. And I think they are for now. I trust Daryl. I think he'll be able to make it happen. But I think Ben Simmons' value right now is pretty low. So I think what you got to do, and it's funny because like Morey sending the craziest offers in the beginning, and around the draft, the trade rumors really heating up, and then it cools off a little bit, and then we get the football season and our attention goes away a little. And it's weird because this same story is reported by Keith Pompey that he wasn't going to go back to training camp. And then I guess it kind of drifted in the wind. And then the national media finally got it again, maybe just because preseason's coming up again. So, and then you get this story and then it starts to get reported and it's just kind of ridiculous. And I know I'm all over the place with this, but if you're the Sixers, I think it's got to be a 3-team deal because none of these 1-for-1 deals that I'm hearing from teams like Minnesota, San Antonio, Cleveland, Toronto, I don't think that's going to work for Morey. And Morey's a smart guy. He's going to be willing to make a good deal. And it's been reported that Simmons said, he'll play for anyone besides the Sixers. But, then there's a trade rumor or some kind of news that comes up that he gets alerted about the Timberwolves, and he says no. So the guy's really you can't really trust the guy on his word. And some of these other trades that guys are throwing around, I mean, you could read them online, but I trust that the Sixers will do the right thing. Now, I don't know. Have they done that before? I don't know. You think about, the current establishment, how they, dealt with Jimmy Butler and how that should have went. And me and Miggs could go hours about that. But yeah, it looks like both sides are staying really put. I think, Rich Paul has a lot of influence on the players. Obviously, he even tried to get Maxey out of here. And Maxey's like, no, let me stay. He's like, stop this now. And who knows? I mean, the NBA is so full of drama and that's why I love it, but it's hard to wrap your head around some of this stuff. So if Simmons, doesn't obviously come back, or we know that he's not going to come back, he might be able to, I don't know. I don't think he's going to get traded. I think the Sixers are going to hold out and start to fine him. So the fines are $227,000 a day, which could add up to $1.3 million. And I think Simmons is comfortable with that. I think he's been quoted, or his camp's been quoted saying they're fine with that. But it seems like he's being really picky about where he wants to go, who he wants to play with. And it's just been a headache for us, man. Now, maybe potential landing spots. I think right now the best team to do a deal with is still Portland. I don't know if they'll give us Lillard. I don't think they will. But maybe they could give us a McCollum and a Rocco and maybe some future picks or pick swaps. I think that could be the best thing on the table now. Something about the Cavs offer intrigues me there. Maybe they could beef it up a little. Maybe we get a couple last inklings of Kevin Love and Colin Sexton and maybe a Coro. I don't know. I think the picks there would be the most appealing thing. I still don't know about Sexton. I think I like Garland better. He's kind of he has the similar play style of Damian Lillard. Spurs, Dejounte Murray, and I don't know, a couple other pieces. I don't love that. The T-Wolves, they have somewhat of an appealing offer, but I think you would need to get another team in there. Maybe the Warriors. And then the Raptors, I think, I don't know. They have Siakam. I mean, that would be really disappointing if the Sixers were to do a deal with any of those teams without a third team in there. But yeah, and I just think the whole thing with Rich Paul and Simmons, it's a shame that they don't tell Simmons that, it's a shame that they don't tell him the way it should be. They don't tell him how it is. I feel like the guy is so coddled. He's been so coddled for his whole life. I feel like it's coming back to bite him in the ass. But for our misfortune as fans of the Sixers. So wherever he goes, I don't know. Doc wants him back, but I mean, they should have coached Doc a little better on that just to, kind of shut his mouth. And it's interesting that he goes to the national media to talk about this and not the local media where he could be challenged on his response and, what he might have said. And I know Doc's really not a local guy, but I think maybe you give some preference to the local media on that. Because I know Doc, yeah, he wants Ben back, but he knows Ben Simmons can't play in the playoffs. He knows Ben Simmons isn't the guy. So maybe he should just be comfortable with that and move on. So I think that's where we got to leave it at for now, but it sucks, man. As a Sixers fan, I think you got maybe 3-4 years left of Embiid being constantly healthy in the level that he's at. Maybe 2 more seasons of him being an MVP caliber player. So I don't know really what can you do, honestly. I think McCollum gives us a decent shot at, being a top seed in the East, but are we going to get through Brooklyn? I don't know. And then you see recently that the Nets were going to trade Kyrie for Simmons, and KD put a stop on that. So what does that say about one of your star players' future trade value if one of the best players in the league doesn't even want to play with him, It sucks. I think it kicks his trade value down even more. So I guess it's going to be crazy this preseason. And for a top seeded team in the East last year, our identity could completely change in the matter of 24 hours. So I'm looking forward to it. I know Ben doesn't want to be here, so I'm trying to look on, but it'll be interesting to see what kind of identity we have come opening day. In other news for the Sixers, we got Mark Zumoff's replacement here. I know that's making a lot of waves as the first female sports broadcaster in Philadelphia, major market. It's interesting. And I'm not gonna rip on her. Kate Scott is her name. She's the new NBC Sports Philadelphia play-by-play announcer. You got to give her a chance. I mean, Zumoff was legendary. So many great calls. I don't know if I'll be back. I don't think so. I'm interested to see how that'll go. But, yeah, so congrats to Kate Scott. I'm not sure what the specifics of the contract are, but we'll see what happens. I know she did 49ers play-by-play on the radio, I believe. So we'll see how that goes. But I don't know. I'm just so frustrated about Ben Simmons. And I do want to talk football, but it's just I hope we could just trade him to a shitty team and he can realize that he burned his bridges. That would be nice. It really would. And I don't know, I feel just Simmons has been immature since the start, I see some, mental deficiencies, obviously. But what's wrong? If you're a player in the NBA, and I guess this is more so just a life thing, but what's wrong with being humble and vocalizing what you could do better? And I get it. NBA players aren't the most humble. Athletes in general, you kind of have to have this confidence and swagger in you at sometimes, and especially in the NBA, so star-driven. But what's wrong with saying in a Sixers presser or in an interview in the offseason, hey, man, this is what I did wrong. I'm going to work on in the offseason. I'm going to be better. Does he really want to just not be in Philly because of the media or because he likes the West Coast better? I think, obviously he's taking the easier way out here because it seems like he has a preference for, a team on the West Coast. And will those teams probably be better than the Sixers? I don't know. But it's super frustrating. And I get it. The NBA is a players-heavy league, but I think there's a good faction or a good chunk of fans now that are kind of fed up with it, how much power the players have. And say what you will, I'm really not going to take a stance for one or the other, but I would say the older generation of NBA fans, those who kind of grew up watching the NBA in the 70s, 80s, 90s, the league has totally changed now. And, you can't disagree with that statement that it's totally changed. Players are getting flip-flopped from market to market every year, star players, big players, and they just get a say. And it seems like there's really nothing they can do about it. But I really haven't, and I know I'm, in Philly, but I really haven't met anyone that's on Ben Simmons' side. And maybe it would be different if his play style was different. Maybe if he could shoot, and he was a star and he just wanted to leave, it would be different. But there's a lot of variables here. So I guess that's all I have to say on the Simmons thing. I'm exhausted of it, honestly. It's like tabloid shit, Yeah, we got Eagles Dallas this weekend. Also, I think I said it before, but Ryder Cup's currently going on. I'm recording this Friday morning. It's a good weekend for sports. And there's some good college football on too. We got Wisconsin, Notre Dame. Weirdly enough, Villanova's playing Penn State. So that should be fun. I want to say Penn State is a 30, somewhere in the neighborhood of 30-point favorite. I'm going to check that. Oh, there's not even a line on here on ESPN. I thought there was a line. Oh, well, I think maybe on some books you get them, but I don't know. Penn State coming off a big win against Auburn. Are they really going to want to crush Villanova by like 30, I'm saying? Michigan and Rutgers, 2-3-0 teams. That is at Michigan. Interesting. Anything else notable? Texas A&M and Arkansas. That's at Arkansas. UCLA, Stanford. What else we got? Nothing really that great. But I'll tell you what, I'm hammering Wisconsin this weekend. 6.5-point favorite at home against an overrated Notre Dame team. I hate it. I hate to do it because I've never bet on Wisconsin. Just because I feel like, kind of like the Sixers, they always tend to disappoint me. But I'm going to do it. Notre Dame barely beats Toledo. They beat Florida State by field goal. Is Florida State that great? I don't think so. They beat Purdue pretty well, but Purdue sucks. So I'm going to go Wisconsin, -6.5. I'm going to take them. I think Notre Dame is super overrated. And I know that's not going to go well with a lot of our fans. I know Gabagool's a big Notre Dame guy. I'll get his thoughts. Maybe I'll text him, hopefully. But I like Wisco. Love a little Wisco here. And maybe if you could get Villanova to cover in the first half on Saturday, that might be a lot to ask. But I say go for it. Fuck it, man. Just do it. Just do it. I actually got invited to go to Penn State this weekend, but I'm not going. All right, let's do a little Eagles Dallas. There seems to be, I don't know, a little, I want to say like emotional numbness this year with the Eagles. I think like it's kind of, I kind of heard that. Well, I did hear it on the Mike Missinelli show, but I totally agree with it. It seems like because of the new coach and a quarterback who we didn't initially think was going to be the franchise quarterback, I don't know if he still will be the franchise quarterback, that we're not sure how to feel about the team, because I think deep down inside we know that it might change pretty quickly if it doesn't go well. And maybe COVID kind of hurt us too with that, but I feel like some of the excitement with the Eagles isn't there yet. We lose to the 49ers last weekend, and, I was there, and it was, the defense did look good, but it was, I don't know. It wasn't very climatic. I don't know why. Did I say that right? Climac, whatever. I'm not an English major, but it wasn't that exciting. And, they score a touchdown late in the game. It didn't seem like the offense had much going. Hurts, a lot of people said underthrew some balls. He had that beautiful throw to Rager that got called back because he ran out of bounds. You see some good spots and you see some not so great spots with Hurts. The good thing is he doesn't really turn the ball over, or he hasn't in these first two games, so that's good to see. But I think, we're still kind of holding our breath here, and I think after this weekend we'll have a good picture of how maybe the rest of the season will play out. I don't know. But Brandon Graham goes down with a torn Achilles last weekend, so that's tough for us. And Brandon Brooks gets hurt too. And I think the Eagles live and die by how the Lions do, and this doesn't look good for them. We'll see how Dickerson does. And then obviously they signed Josh Sweat to a contract extension. Pretty good timing with the Brandon Graham injury. So I don't know how that's going to go. I think Dallas wins by a pretty good margin here. I know we're going to get into the betting later, but Eagles are a 3.5-point dog. I think Dallas wins by 10. And it's like, oh, come on, Dini, you're an Eagles fan. Come on. It doesn't matter. I'm going for the crown this year. I'm going for the betting crown. Obviously, none of us are doing well so far. I'm 16-16, and I'm in first. So I'm just breaking even. I haven't made anyone money. So I got to really think here, and I don't think the Eagles do it. I really don't. Dallas can beat you in a lot of different ways. Tony Pollard shines last weekend against the Chargers. I just think they can get you in a bunch of different ways. And I know the Eagles defense has been decent, but I think they just have too many weapons. And I think Dak looks much better this year. Maybe in the first half, the Eagles keep it close, but, and I think Hurts will do decent, but because I don't think the Cowboys secondary is great, but I think the Cowboys are going to have a lot of success against our defense, given Brandon Graham being out. I think that's going to have a big effect. And, Cowboys at home against an Eagles team who's, you're not really sure about. I think it's a safe bet to go Cowboys minus 3.5. I would maybe even do an alt spread, maybe make some money there if you're a betting man. I really have no faith in this Eagles team against Dallas this week. I saw enough last week against a good team in the 49ers, and I think the Cowboys are better than them. So I'm going to go with the Cowboys, and I hate to sound so pessimistic about the Eagles, but I think that's the way it goes. And then we kind of find out more about this team and how Sirianni does and what adjustments he can make. But, who knows? I don't know. I'm just throwing darts. But I'm going to go the Cowboys minus 3.5. Maybe an alt spread. Maybe. Sorry, guys, to my Eagles faithful. Obviously, we got a little Eagles in prime time. Maybe black unis. I don't know. But so far, I like Sirianni. I do. I think everyone kind of originally thought he was stereotypical corny high school coach type of guy. He wears the T-shirts with, he wore one this week and beat Dallas, and then he wore the Brandon Graham shirt in training camp, stuff like that. No, he's just young. He's trying to relate to the players. I like that. I think I said this before, but he makes sure Hurts likes the plays that he puts in, that he maybe scripts. I think he's very player friendly, so that's good. But I guess, on the other side of that, maybe he's trying to innovate a little too much, and that can kind of mess up with the game plan. I don't know. It's a pure speculation, but I do like Sirianni for now. With the way that this team is going, it's a rebuild. Why not just get a young coach? I totally agree. I mean, obviously, right when I saw it on the banner on the ticker, I was like, eh. But you know what? He's been decent so far. I mean, still a nice, fresh, breath of fresh air from Doug, who's probably elated still that he's just chilling, because I think he's still on the Eagles' payroll. But yeah, I think they'll compete, but I think Dallas is a pretty damn good team. So I got Dallas this weekend. All right, let's go to the NFL bets, and let's make you some money, guys. Of course, last night I fucking make the betting guide for Thursday night, and it goes 0 for 4. So, I mean, if you really are, you could skip this part, because who knows? I could make you a lot of money. I could lose you a lot of money. But McCaffrey gets hurt, and I did his over in yards, and I think he was going to hit it. But, of course, he gets hurt with a hammy injury. Sorry. Darnold, I mean, no passing touchdowns. Ridiculous after the last 2 weeks he's had. He had 2 rushing touchdowns, so that would have been even better from an odds perspective. Ingram goes under. I hate the Texans. I never want to bet on them again. I should have done the Brandon Cooks over, but for some reason I thought that, the Carolina D was going to hurt him. Not hurt him, but make him do worse. You know what I'm saying. And then Robbie Anderson, I mean, could it be any worse? I mean, I knew I probably wasn't going to get that one. First touchdown, score plus 900. It was juicy. He goes 1 reception for 8 yards. So I should probably just never do the Thursday night betting guide again. So, I mean, that's not what happens here, though. We'll come back. We'll be back. We're 0-4 in props this year. Well, I am. I know Miggs, texted me in the middle of the first quarter in Miggs fashion and goes, Chuba Hubbard over in receiving and reception yards. Rushing and receiving yards. And they were like ridiculously low numbers. And I think he probably hit on both of those. But would have liked those while I was making the post, Matty Miggs. All right, let's get into the games here. We got Buffalo and the Washington football team. Buffalo right now is a 7-point favorite. This is Friday morning, mind you. I like Buffalo here. I know Washington has got what people say, a good defense, but it really hasn't seemed like that so far. Obviously, Buffalo came back big time last week with a shutout blowout against the Dolphins. I like Buffalo to keep it going here. I think the Redskins just have some issues with scoring right now, and especially against a good defense and team like Buffalo. I'm going to ride the wagon with Buffalo. All right, we got Ravens at the Detroit Lions. Ravens are an 8.5-point favorite. The Lions, not many bright spots. Although I love Swift for fantasy value. I like the Ravens here as well in a blowout after that win last week. I think, they're going to start rolling, show who they are. I like Ravens by probably maybe even 2 scores. All right, we got the Colts at the Titans. Obviously, Wentz is banged up. I think he's going to try to play, though. 2 sprained ankles, not 1, but 2. Titans coming off of, I believe, an overtime win against the Seahawks last week in week 2. Titans are a 5.5-point favorite. I don't know. this gives me some trappy vibes. But I'm gonna stick with the Titans. And I don't know, like maybe Wenzel, I don't know, numb his ankles up, put a couple cortisone shots in. Who knows? Then we got the Chargers at the Chiefs. Now, Chargers usually play the Chiefs pretty well. I think it's going to be a shootout. I really do. Chiefs are favored by 7, but I like the Chargers here. I'm going to go Chargers +7, an away team dog. This is a risk, but I like it. And I'm going to go with the over here. I think the over is somewhere in the neighborhood of, one second, I'm by myself. I don't have my producers here. The over is, come on, Michael, get there. 54.5. I like the over, and I like the Chargers. Now, I think a lot of people would say, hey, Chiefs by a field goal, or maybe you just think the Chiefs are really, 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 really good. But I think the Chargers usually play them close. You can check me on that if you want. I'm going Chargers. And we got the Saints at the Pats. Pats are a 3-point favorite. Saints essentially playing or have played 2 away games just because they're in Jacksonville. They looked terrible last weekend against the Panthers. Now, are the Panthers the Patriots? No, but Saints in Foxborough. I don't know. I just think they're a little deflated from being on the road so much. So I actually like the Pats in this one. Next, we got the Falcons at the Giants. Weirdly enough, Daniel Jones got some like Pro Football Focus, I think it was, PFF Offensive Player of the Week, and like it was just weird. I don't know why. I mean, obviously he had a good game, but I don't know if he was even like, did they even win? No, they didn't win, right? I don't know why he was. It must have been clickbait or something. I don't know. But Falcons at the Giants. This is a matchup that I have a hard time picking because I really don't like either team. I don't have a lot of faith in either team. Yeah, the Giants lost. So I don't know. Like, obviously, Matty Ice a little more stable, but they're not doing well this year. So I'm going to go with the Giants at home, favored by 3. It could be a push, honestly. I could see the Giants winning on like a late game field goal. Maybe I'll pick push there, like as a prop. But I got the Giants 3-point favorite right now. Again, this is Friday morning, so lines might change. All right, we got the Bengals at the Steelers. Lazarati Steelers. I don't have much faith in the Bengals. I'm going to go with the Steelers here. They're a 3-point favorite. Steelers usually clean it up for division games, so I like them here. Steelers. All right, we got the Cards at Jacksonville, which this I think the over hits here. I highlighted a couple games where I like the over. As I said before, Chargers at the Chiefs. I like the over. And then this game, Cardinals at the Jags. I like the over. I think it's going to be a blowout, and I think there's going to be a lot of points. I think Kyler Murray has a huge fantasy weekend here. He's really going to open it up. So I like the Cards at 7.5-point favorite. I like that. Kyler Murray, T-Law. I like J-Law, but, you got T-Law as the quarterback. Jets at Broncos. Matty Miggs Jets go to Denver at Mile High. Broncos are a heavy, heavy favorite. 10.5 points. Now, it might be a little appealing to say if Zach Wilson can get it together and the rush game looks good, that they cover. But I'm going to go no. I'm going to go Broncos. And I think that they need to win just to keep their little cushion in the AFC West. I kind of like what they're doing. I feel like they're kind of going under the radar with Teddy Bridgewater. They're just kind of playing solid. So I like the Broncos. Yeah, I'm going to take them. Now, could the Jets cover it? Let's say it's 20-10, maybe, but you got to think Wilson will probably have 1 or 2 turnovers, and I don't think Bridgewater will. Maybe, I don't know. Yeah, I mean, he had no interceptions last week against Jacksonville. Let's see. Did he have any turnovers against the G-Men? No, he didn't. Bridgewater's playing really well. So I like that there. I'm going to go Broncos minus 10.5. Dolphins at the Raiders next. I'm all over the Raiders in this one. Quite frankly, just because I don't believe in the Dolphins ever. And I know this is spreads, but like, I wonder what the Dolphins at against the spread rankings are. Maybe I'll look that up later. But I like the Raiders there. I think they're finally where they want to be. And I think the pressure's on early in the year for them to win as many games as possible, just because, you you got the Chiefs and the Chargers. So I'm going to go Raiders, 3.5-point favorite Friday morning. And then we got the game of the week, which will be a good one. Buccaneers at the Rams. This is another game I like the over in. I think it's going to be a shootout. You got Brady and Stafford just slinging it. I don't know how much defense there's going to be. Buccaneers are a 1-point favorite. I could see this turn into a pick 'em by Saturday night. So watch those line movements there. I've got the Rams. I do. I think the Buccaneers are going to cool off eventually sometime this season. Why not it be now? Why not we take Matty Staffs, Cooper Kupp, Robbie Trees, Robbie Woods, and Darrell Henderson, who I don't know, fantasy-wise, who knows? A little shaky, but I'm going to ride him. Pause. Buccaneers at the Rams. I like the Rams. +1 right now. And I like the over. Hit both at the same time. All right, let's go to Seahawks at Minnesota. Both of these teams. So Seattle loses to Tennessee last week. And then the Vikings, I think they lost too, right? My memory does not serve me well. 1 sec. Yes, so the Vikings lose on Vikings lose to the Cardinals last week. I like the over here as well. I think both teams got a lot of offensive firepower. I think both teams are going to sling it. I think it's a great weekend for my boys, Russ Wilson and Tyler Lockett, on my fantasy team in 4th and long. Seattle's favored right now by 1.5. I know there's a good amount of juice on the Vikings, but I'm going to go with Seattle. And, I'm kind of iffy about it. I honestly just might wake up on Sunday and circle the Vikings, but I'm going to go with Seattle for now. I think that it's going to be hard for them to win, but something tells me that, I might just circle the Vikings. I can't even talk myself into Seattle. I can't. I don't know why. But I don't know. Maybe I'll just leave it open. You know what? I'm going to circle the Vikings. I'm going to do it. I just circled Vikings. Go with Vikings in the over. Screw it. Do it. All right. It's probably my fantasy bias that I love Russell Wilson so much. But the team, I don't know. In spread betting, who knows? All right, we got Green Bay at the 49ers. The 49ers are a 3-point favorite. Watched them, obviously, with playing the Eagles last week. I like the Packers here. Road dog. I think it's prime time, so love me a little Rodgers in prime time. They're coming off a big win, but against the Lions. So I'm going to go with the Packers here. Could be a push. I could see a push. Maybe we'll get a little line change, but I'm going to ride the Packers here. And then last but not least, we got the Eagles at the Cowboys, Monday Night Football. As I said before, I'm going Cowboys, 3.5-point favorite. I just don't think the Eagles have enough. And I think the Cowboys win big. I think they win probably by 10. I don't know what the over-under is for that. But so my overs this week are Seattle Vikings over, Buccaneers Rams over, Cards Jags over, Chargers Chiefs over. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 games I like the over, and so maybe you parlay those with a little spread action. But yeah, those are my NFL games of the week. And then for college, I like Wisconsin. Hammer that. Just do it. No one wants to bet on Notre Dame. Come on, make a little money with Wisco. Just do it. Just do it. All right, I think that's going to do it for today. As always, we are at Fourth and Long Pod on the IG, on the Instagram. Make sure you shoot us some DMs. We always like talking to the random people. Ryder Cup this weekend. I know we didn't really get into it, but I'll be watching. I love USA, but I don't really have faith in them. I feel like Europe just somehow pulls it off. I know Rahm and Garcia were 2 up on Thomas and Spieth while I was recording this, so before I came into this room. But yeah, enjoy the weekend. As always, keep those positive vibes. You know what I'm saying? It's going to be a beautiful weekend in Philly, so get outside, stay positive, live, laugh, love, whatever you want to do. All that generic, corny quote stuff. Just make the most of it. Anyways, have a good weekend. Take care.